भेदै महाविभलौ वन्दे रूप सनातन रघुजगं श्रीजीव गो।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the members of the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association, and welcome to the Sunday morning reading and discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam from the original Delhi versions that were published in 1962, 64, and 65. And Prabhupada came to America with 200 sets of them in trunks. He had a passage from India on a boat called the Jaladuta, which most of you know, and it was a passage that was given to him from the owner of the Scindia steamship company, Sumati Maharajji. And she was the owner of this huge corporation. And when I was in Bombay in I think it was 75, I was picked out of a crowd while we were standing with Prabhupada in front of the temple he was constructing by her, and she asked me through her servants to come and see her at her house, her residence at Juhu Beach. And I went there and she interviewed me. I was a brahmachari at the time, and she asked me all kinds of questions, and then I went on my way. So it was a great experience to be a part of this Leela of Srila Prabhupada. And this last while, I was on a plane coming here to Yautepec, Mexico, to see my godbrother, Gopal Prabhu. And he has been very sick. And what happened was on the plane, I had brought a version of Easy Journey to Other Planets. And I started to read it. It was quite, even despite the fact that it is an edited version, which we've discovered subsequently, I started to read. There was some content, of course, very relevant to what we're practicing here. And I subsequently researched the 1959 version and came up with an interesting part that was totally removed from this publication. The introductory section of it, where Prabhupada responds to someone who sent a letter to him for a review, and Prabhupada gave him a response. And I wanted to, Ram Raghava has found this online, and it's to Mr. Dr. Naik from Srila Prabhupada. I thought I'd read it to us because so deep and important to understand this philosophy directly from Srila Prabhupada. Your letter dated 20th March 1960, redirected from my headquarters, Vrindavan. Interesting, Prabhupada refers to it as headquarters because he was there pretty much on his own, but it was his headquarters. And I'm very much encouraged to go through the contents, which are full of valuable information. The subject matter discussed in my article under reference is authorized as far as it refers to the conclusion of Gita. I may also inform you that my concept of antimatter is exactly what you call it, anti-material. Technically, it may be that I could not express the exact word used by the physicist, but I've tried to explain the word antimatter in the light and sense of what you say as antimaterial, which is spirit. But spirit is not, as you have pointed out. In the Bhagavad Gita, the supreme truth, or the absolute personality of Godhead, is the transcendental person, and the two energies, namely para and apara, are emanations from him. The apara, or the inferior material energy, may consist of many other elements, like matter, antimatter, proton, electron, neutron, etc., in terms of physical science. But according to the authority of Bhagavad Gita, all of them are produced of the inferior energy called the name apara prakriti. The apara prakriti consists of the gross and subtle matters like mind, ego, and intelligence, and spirit is transcendental to all of these. The spiritual energy, para prakriti, is simultaneously one and different from the spirit whole. Qualitatively, they are one, but quantitatively, they are different. The Brahman ray is the effulgence of the Supreme Person. You have defined impersonal Brahman as the divine energy. I fully agree with you in pursuance of its description in the Brahma Samhita. I'm going to publish in the next issue of an article of the name Variety of Planetary Systems, in which there is reference from the Brahma Samhita. According to Bhagavad Puranam, the supreme truth is realized in three stages, namely the impersonal Brahman, or the Nirakar Absolute, the Paramatma, or the located aspect of Brahman. The neutron part of the atom may be taken as the presentation of Paramatma, who enters into the atom also. It is described in the Brahma Samhita. Please note, everybody, these are the words of a self-realized spiritual master, much different than any other gurus you've ever encountered. But ultimately, the Supreme Being is realized as the Supreme Person, all-attractive Krishna, with full inconceivable potencies of opulence, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Please listen. The six potencies are fully exhibited by Sri Ram and Sri Krishna when he descends from the before the human being. Only a section of the human being who are unalloyed devotees could recognize him on the authority of revealed scriptures, but others are bewildered, very bewildered, absolutely on the mental platform, under the influence of material nature, energy. The absolute truth is therefore absolute person without an equal or high competitor. Personality, impersonal Brahman. Rays are the rays of his body transcendental as much as the sun rays are emanation from the sun planet. According to Vishnu Puranam, the material energy is called avidya or nescience, which is exhibited in the fruitive activities of sense enjoyment. But the living being belongs to the group of anti-material energy or spiritual energy, while he has the tendency of being illusioned and trapped by the material energy for sense enjoyment. Yes, trapped in a body made of blood, pus, stool, and urine. In the sense, the living being is the positive energy, whereas the matter is the negative energy. The matter does not develop without being in contact with the superior spiritual or anti-material energy, which is directly part and parcel of the spirit whole. Remember, this was written in 1959, Dasa Avatar. Anyway, the subject matter of this spiritual energy exhibited by the living being is undoubtedly a very complicated thing for an ordinary man. Yes, someone in illusion. The ordinary man is therefore astounded in the subject, doesn't really get it. Sometimes is partially understands it through the imperfect senses, and sometimes he fails to know it altogether. That's most of the time. The best thing is therefore to hear the grave subject matter from the highest authority, Sri Krishna, or his devotee representative, coming down in the chain of disciplic succession, and that is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Wake up. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads and Vedanta. I'm glad to note that you've got the highest estimation for Gita. I'm just trying to present the conclusion of Gita to the world as it is, and without any imperfect compromise or speculative interpretation. Compromise. We have to learn the lessons of Gita from the authorized disciplic succession, as it is advised there in the book, 4th chapter. Tad vidhi pranipatena. Unfortunately, everyone not in the line tries to explain Gita in his own way, and this process misguided the people. We have to counteract this disruptive tendency and put them at right. Okay? That's what we're doing. I shall be very glad if you join my mission. Yes, we will. The League of Devotees, and on receipt of your favorable reply, I shall send you the prospectus. So he's building here. Back then, an erudite scholar like you should join and help us in this noble attempt. Join us. Don't rationalize, speculate, or manipulate your mind to think you shouldn't. Your appreciation of India's cultural heritage is very much enlivening for me. Let us jointly distribute this great cultural heritage to the world at large in an organized manner. Organized as a group. And through that, the recommended process of divine love propagated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and please try to help me as far as possible. Awaiting your reply with interest. Hope you are well. Camp Delhi, dated the 28th of March, 1960. Yours sincerely, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. How was that, Vijay Pandit? Very profound, eh? Very enlightening. And we had a profound experience this morning. I got up and went to the room of my godbrother Gopal, and by the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Sri Krishna and the disciplic succession, Gopal has left this world for another birth. So last night, we were in his room. I filmed it, some of it just for historical purposes, for us, so we can all see how we should conduct ourselves when someone is about to die. And I wanted to thank Yashodanandana Prabhu very much. He's so astute and accurate. I went in the room and I got the Gopi Radhakunda Chand. Someone here in Mexico had given him a piece of earth from Radhakunda, and I marked his body with tilak. And then after that, we decorated his bed with the pictures of Radha Krishna and Prabhupada, and then we took a photo, and I sent it to Yashodanandana Prabhu, and he goes, "Where is his neck beads?" Because, it's important at the time of leaving the body that you're properly presented to the Vishnu Dutas, and so the Yamadutas would not come and take him. So I took the instruction. I thought, So I had brought some extra kantimala with me to give away to some people here who I might meet. I always try to carry some accessories like that to try to share with other people, give them a chance. And so I took the beads that I had in my room and I went over and I asked his friend who had come from Mexico, a very nice young man, and a great help for me while I'm here, because he speaks not only English but Spanish. So he was like a translator for me. Now I was able to communicate with everyone properly. And we managed to prop him up in the bed, Ram Raghava, briefly, and put the kantimala on. Okay. And then our manager here, one of the fellows that's been working for Paul for some time, he saw what we were doing. He said, "Oh, just a second." Because I thought Ram Raghava, when he went for surgery at the hospital, because they did this major operation to tie his long colon and short colon together. They did this was last week on Saturday. And he came back a few days ago here because he wanted to come back here. And I was happy he would come back here so that we could be with him and give him a chance. Otherwise, you have no chance without a devotee association. Know that. You die like a dog. Nothing. People sitting around and crying and weeping, and there's nothing there. Just emptiness. So, Jesus says to me, or through Oliveira, he says, "Oh, the beads are here." Oh, and Yashodanandana Prabhu, there was a devotee, there's quite a few devotees in Mexico from the past preaching. A lot of them have floated off to the Gaudiya Math, because they were so disenchanted with the GBC here. So they saw the fallacy in these people, and they just left, and they've gone to the Gaudiya Math. The Mexican people are very sincere people, a lot of really eager people to take up spiritual life. So they had given him a Radha Kunda neck beads. Plus, I had given him Tulsi beads before when I came. So he had the beads. I said, well, take those other ones off and we'll put his on. So he put his beads on. He looked beautiful. He absolutely looked beautiful. And we chanted. We chanted. And these people, none of them are devotees, by the way, but I had them clap their hands while I chanted. And we had a big kirtan in his room. Oh, yes. And I chanted the Nrsimha prayers, Vijaya Pandit. I just chanted it over his body just now and prayed to Lord Nrsimhadev to save him. So, all auspicious. All auspicious. Somehow or other, by circumstance, by destiny, by fate, I was sent here to assist him. And Gopal, I've known him since the 70s. He used to come to Toronto with our friend Murli Krishna. And I've been in touch with Murli and his wife in Buffalo because they're his friends. And Yashoda stayed in Buffalo in his journey, and he knows Gopal. And so he would come up to Toronto when we would do the Rath Yatra festivals. Oh, back then the festivals were grand, so grand. So many devotees from Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, everyone would come all around for their big Rath Yatra festivals. It was glorious, and he would come. And he had been in Philadelphia. He had taken pictures of Prabhupada. I have the pictures, the original photographs. He was an excellent photographer, Ram Raghava. Excellent. All his life, he took beautiful pictures. So I have those pictures. He gave them to myself and my son, Abhi Charan, as part of his inheritance. That's what he gave in his will to us. And we celebrate his disappearance today. Yes. And we feel honored. You know, I'm a fallen soul, really fallen, and somehow or other, I've been engaged in this service, and we've been talking about it for the last few days, all the varieties of devotees that I've had to assist in their journey at the last moments of their life. And it's a deep, profound experience for all of us, because we're all together on this, especially those of you who come to the program and are following along as we carry along every week, every Wednesday again, every Saturday and Sunday, our 3-day classes, which give us an opportunity to have association with each other. Otherwise, what would we do, Michael? Just be on our own and wait until time, eternal time, comes and takes us? Death the Reaper comes to the door and then we're goodbye, empty and lonely? No, none of us here should ever feel lonely or lost. You have association, you have companionship, you have people. All of us are together as a team in the service of Srila Prabhupada and his mission to protect his legacy. And by the way, I'll finish up, and I apologize for the extra speech, but we have a lot of exciting news for everyone that we will disclose in due course. Yes, we're being very, not secretive, but cautious. And this is something that will continue to help us propagate the legacy of Srila Prabhupada in his unadulterated, unedited teachings. So we'll go ahead with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then we'll have our reading and discussion from Srimad Bhagavatam, Delhi versions, with His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu, And is there still snow up there in Twain Harte? No. The weather comes and goes, we come and go, but Krishna consciousness is eternal and is the blessing on all of us. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Singh.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanandana Yashodanandana Brajajanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari
Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Tato Jayam Udirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances. 1. Next text. 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana. 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses explaining the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. We will start with text number 15. Yadanudyasina yukta. Canto 1, Chapter 2, text 15. No. Yadanudyasina yukta karma grantini bandhanam chindanti kubidastasya kona kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Text 16. Shushrushoho sardadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi tyanmahat sevaya vipra punyatirtani shevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done, and as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Srinvatam svakata Krishna punyasravana kirtana ridyanta soya badrani vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, thus cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu babadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chitayetera viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis siddhyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishtaye vatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated, along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. We will proceed ahead with our reading this week. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 6, text number 28. All English synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder-Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Prayujyamani mayitam shuddham bhagavatim tanum arabdha karma nirvano nyapatat panchabhautikam. Prayujyamani, having been awarded upon, mayi, on me, tam, that, shuddham, transcendental, bhagavatim, fit for being associated with the personality of Godhead. Tanum, body, arabdha, acquired, karma, fruitive work, nirvano, prohibitive, nyapatat, acquitted of, panchabhautikam, body made of 5 material elements. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Having thus the transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead being awarded upon me, I was acquitted of the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work was prohibited. Purport. As informed by the personality of Godhead, that Nārada would be awarded with transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, so it was done simultaneously, along with acquittal of the material body. This transcendental body means free from material affinity and invested with 3 primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, without any tinge of the material modes and without any reaction of fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the above-mentioned 3 inebrieties, and a devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with such transcendental qualities as soon as he's engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. It acts like magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of the three qualitative modes of material nature upon the person of a pure devotee. And there are many instances like that in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaja and Prahlad Maharaja and many other devotees were able to see the personality of God face to face, apparently in the same body. This means the quality of a devotee's body changes from material affinity to transcendence. That is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis in terms of authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from the Indra Gopa germ up to the great king, the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subjected to the law of karma and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their own work. But only the devotee is exempt from such reaction of karma by the causeless mercy of the supreme authority, personality of Godhead. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasme Shugurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadana Srinam Danteridam Yachi Punah Punah Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshaku Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very important topic being discussed here, because the point comes up, and as devotees, we follow the path of bhakti. We follow the sadhana process that has been given by our acharya, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So what will be the end result of all these practices at the time of departure? At the time of death. Now, we do know from Bhagavad Gita, very nicely, Krishna explains in chapter 4, text number 9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punara janma naiti mam miti sorjuna. That if one remembers the activities, one who knows the transcendental nature of Krishna's activity, Janma karma chami divyam, divyan means transcendental, that Krishna's transcendental activities, that the person who understands this and engages in the process of bhakti will not take birth again in the material world. This is Krishna's promise. And in numerous other places in the Bhagavad Gita, this is explained. Krishna promises. Now, this is why it is important to follow the instruction of a liberated personality who is not under the influence of the material energy. A great personality like Srila Prabhupada. Now, we know from Bhagavad Gita that we've been advised Tadvidhi pranipatina pariprasnina sevaya upadikshanti jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth. By approaching a spiritual master inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him, the self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So we see here in this text and in the purport, our Srila Prabhupada is describing the process, the proper process for spiritual advancement. Because in the material world, we see that people are conditioned. People are conditioned by it's called upadi in Sanskrit. They're conditioned to think that I am this body, this land of birth is worshipable, that I am a man or a woman, or I've been born in a certain religious denomination, that I am black, white, red, Asian. There's so many different designations, artificial designations, which are born of false ego. And to make spiritual advancement, one has to inquire, to respectfully and submissively inquire from a bona fide authorized spiritual master. Prabhupada describes in the purport, one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. And Prabhupada goes on describing here everything. It's like a perfect recipe for spiritual success. Prabhupada says, inquiries and submission constitutes the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should not only hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. What's very interesting about this verse is when you look 2 verses later, in text number 36, Krishna describes what happened when you get that knowledge. Krishna very kindly says, even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners. Next text. Text 36. Okay, here we go. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So this is the explanation given by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita, how to solve the problems of life, the suffering condition, the conditioning. How to get out of that conditioning is given in text number 34, chapter 4, text 34. And what will be the result? Krishna explains very nicely 2 verses later, you will be able to cross over the ocean of misery. Because in this material world, regardless of one's economic condition or family situation or whatever birth may be, or whatever wealth he may have, he is subject to the miseries of material existence. But under the influence of Maya, in Sanskrit, Maya means ma, means not, ya means this, illusion. It is an illusion that affects the conditioned living beings to think that I am this body and the possessions of the body are mine. Well, how long do you live? Those possessions are not going to be there very long. You can't take the possession at the time of death. The real possession is that knowledge that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Supreme Master and we are his eternal servants. That is the perfect knowledge. That is the perfect understanding. And that knowledge can be acquired and gained from hearing submissively from a bona fide, perfect, self-realized spiritual master. And this is very important because in the Western countries, we do know, like every day we recite this mantra, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, that we offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who has come, Gauravani Pracharine, to preach the message of Lord Gaura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But what was he doing this for? He was coming to the Western countries, Paschatya Desatarini means Western countries, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. Because we don't realize that due to conditioning, we try to avoid surrender to the personality of Godhead. Therefore, people take shelter of so many nonsensical philosophies. We see basically in the Nectar of Devotion, the translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami in the beginning is warning that one should be careful of all the crocodiles, different kinds of philosophy that misleads the conditioned souls. He compares to crocodiles in the water. And this is very important because impersonalism can be very subtle. Prabhupada mentions in the Nectar of Instruction that politicians take shelter of impersonalist philosophy to advance their personal purposes, to mislead people. So we are victimized in the material world by all of this impersonalist philosophy. And this all came from Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. Yesterday, we were having a discussion with Vijay Pandit, how in the Padma Purana, Prabhupada explains, Mayavadam asat shastram prachannam bodham uchyate, Mayeva kalpitam devi kalo brahmana rupina. That Lord Shiva is telling Parvati that I will take birth in the form of a Brahmana and spread this Mayavad philosophy, Asat Shastra, false interpretation of scriptures. And we see throughout Prabhupada's teachings and Prabhupada's books, he's constantly exposing the impersonalist philosophy. That's what he came to the West for. He's explaining the position of Krishna. Mayavadam asat shastram prachannam bodham uchyate, mayeva vihitam devi kalo brahmana murtina. Put the translation up, further up. Lord Shiva informed Goddess Durga, the superintendent of the material world, in the age of Kali, I take the form of a Brahmana and explain the Vedas through false scriptures in an atheistic way, similar to Buddhist philosophy. Purport. The word Brahmana Murtina in this verse refers to the founder of Mayavada philosophy, Shankaracharya, who was born in the Malabara district of South India. Mayavada philosophy states that the Supreme Lord, the living entities, and the cosmic manifestation are all transformations of illusory energy. To support this atheistic theory, the Mayavadis cite false scriptures which make people bereft of transcendental knowledge and addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. This verse is from the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda 25:7. Now, why are we discussing this? Because this is very important. Because this impersonal philosophy also infiltrates sometimes in Vaishnava society by motivated persons, motivated by personal ambition, by profit, adoration, and distinction, and it covers their intelligence. Prabhupada used to criticize in one lecture that the Mayavadi is as an idea called Guru Maravidya. Take knowledge from the Guru, then kill Guru. In 1976 in Bombay in August, Prabhupada was talking to one senior member of his society, and he says, why does Gaudiya Math fail? Because they tried to become more than Guru. That Bhaktisiddhanta gave them all instruction. They tried to become more than Guru. And at the end of the conversation, Prabhupada said, as soon as he learns that Guru Maharaj is dead, and then there is you don't perceive this in the transcript, but in the tape, there is a silence, that's like an 8-10 second silence. As soon as he learned Guru Maharaj is dead, there's that silence. So now I can go kill Guru and become Guru. Then Prabhupada says, then he's finished. Our position is to be eternally, constantly, repeatedly the eternal servant of the spiritual master. Not that one thinks the Guru is dead and gone, he's physically not available. Now let me get my trampoline out and jump on a big seat and start pretending and posturing. That is not the recipe for success. That is the recipe for disaster. Very dangerous approach. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And further, we're going to discuss these points because life has a purpose. And we've talked about this, and we're all familiar with this principle of questions and answers. Why we were born, what is our purpose in life, what will happen when we die, what is the afterlife, what is reincarnation, what is transmigration of the soul. So many questions we all have as human beings. Of course, the animal can't ask these questions because it's not endowed with the intelligence, the ability to inquire. Prabhupada gives the example of the animal. Where is food? Where is sex? That's basically the only question they ask. How can I live? How can I enjoy? But the human being has the intelligence gifted by God to ask these important questions and not to ignore the answers. That's what most people do. They do. They have all kinds of reasons, personal reasons based on false ego. That's what it is. They can't accept that. Yashodanandana Prabhu. False ego is a very subtle energy that contaminates the spirit soul. Oh yes, very much so. And as a result, you cannot, solve, Michael, Dylan, you cannot, because of false ego, solve the problems of life, birth, death, disease, and old age, the miseries caused by other living entities, the miseries caused by the material nature, and here is the most insidious, the miseries caused by your own foolish mind and the miseries caused by your body. Do we understand it? No. Do we speculate that we should do something else? Yes. Even when you tell somebody to their face the truth, they walk away. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to leave. Goodbye. See you later. Okay. Well, you know what we say, Vijaya Pandit? There's the door. Goodbye. You cannot convince somebody against their will because they're of the same opinion still. They don't want to listen. This is a somewhat complex and complicated existence that we're in. Somewhat, yes. And you know Dasa Avatar when you read the books. There's so many, especially when you read all of Prabhupada's books, there's so many questions and answers that are given to us. Like if you read the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, it's all about the structure of the universe and creationism. So intricate. Even today we read that interesting letter that Prabhupada had responded to Mr. Naik back in 1959. So detailed. But this is the nature of problem solving. You have to listen. It's not an option. Oh, I don't think I will. Yeah, okay. Everybody has an option, independent free will. It's like chanting japa. Prabhupada never gave an option to us, so you can only chant 2 rounds. No. He insisted that we chant, and notice the term he used, Yashodanandana, minimum 16 rounds. Minimum. He saw that we, as Westerners especially, have many duties that we do and many services that we have to perform. So out of the day, he allotted 2 hours for us to chant the holy name with focus. So this was his order to us, that you must chant 16 rounds a day. Not maybe. And you know what he said to Ram Raghava? He said, if you miss that one day, say you have only get 12 rounds done, he said, you can catch it up the next day. But never think that you shouldn't perform these prescribed duties in order to liberate yourself out of the modes of passion and ignorance, because these modes cover us. And we cannot understand what is the purpose of human life. So, disciplic succession, everyone, is very important. Just like in other groups, there is their disciplic successions. For example, Christianity. Some people say, I'm a Christian. Well, what Bible do you read? Which one? Has it been changed? Do you know? Actually, on looking at the Bible and all the different translations, thousands of them, it had been dramatically changed. Yes. And the truths that were originally expounded by Jesus have been changed and adulterated by the different people that practice this group. And it's recorded. Anyway, we're not here to discuss that. But the fact of the matter is, it's changed, it's adulterated. It's not uncontaminated. Let me give you an example. Prabhupada gave this example. And here at Casa Goloka, Gopal had purchased this property, and it's abundant with all kinds of herbs and different fruits. Absolutely, fruits. There's a lemon tree out behind the kitchen, and the lemons fall off the tree every day. I go get them, pick them up off the ground, and I make a cold drink of lemon and water. It's quite beautiful, actually. But here on the property, there are 3 huge mango trees over the top of the swimming pool and the hot tub. You know, there's all kinds of facility here. So there's 3 massive. There are a lot. Yashoda, they're not small mango trees. There are thousands of mangoes coming in the mango season here. Now, when I was in Africa, we got mangoes in Kinshasa, Congo. And when we got them, we sent the person up on a ladder and he picked the mango from the top of the tree. Because if you simply take the mango and throw it to the ground, it becomes damaged and bruised. So Prabhupada said that. This disciplic succession cannot just be whimsically tossed out. Like all these groups, these so-called religious groups that exist. There's some truth in them. Yes, of course. I mean, let's be fair. But are they damaged? Damaged fruit. Our disciplic succession has to be protected beyond any other doubt in our minds. There is no changing of the philosophy, because when you change the philosophy, guess what happens? You lose the potency. Prabhupada said in a lecture, and I've mentioned it many times, where is the authority that someone has to change the Bhagavad Gita, its meaning, when he's a third-class man? How can you do that? You can't. It becomes adulterated. It becomes contaminated. And in this way, it loses its potency. And yet people are confused. Of course they are. I had a conversation this morning with a fellow out of the Philippines who's a disciple of Mr. T. And this guy is super confused. Like, I'm not in the most compromising mood today for obvious reasons. And I told him, Prabhu, you're following someone that misrepresented the teachings, caused misinformation, contaminated our disciplic succession, and it spread to you, and you're doing the same thing. And because of that, you're offensive. You're a blasphemer to the Prabhupada disciples that are preaching the truth, and you won't listen. Okay. He's still trying to chat with me. I've been trying to block him, Michael, for years. He won't stop. He's like a monkey on my back. But nonetheless, you know, I still feel sorry for the guy. I'm apologetic to him. But the point is, when you take the mango and you throw it to the ground, it becomes damaged. In no way, shape, or form can you give this transcendental knowledge to others if you change it. It should remain the same. And that is our point. Some people, they say, oh, you're fault-finding. For example, someone the other month or so ago said that. Oh, you mentioned this and that. He's disappeared, by the way. Thank you. Goodbye. We didn't mention a name. He said, well, you didn't mention it today, but you did before. Well, yeah, we're not mentioning names, okay, but we're telling the truth. And if you can connect the dots, you'll see that these people are misrepresenting the philosophy for their own personal reasons. And people criticize, well, how come you bring this up? We're not bringing it up because we're trying to fault find. We're trying to explain a very important point, which is the essence of being a disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, living in his Vani incarnation. Do you get it? Vijayapanda, do you get it? Okay, he nodded. I knew he would. Thank you. So this point of philosophy is not just to try to expose other people who are deviant. We call it the deep, dark state of ISKCON. Krishna Kata? It's a deep, dark state. And we're not interested in putting up tariffs. No, that's not our business. We're not taxing anybody. All taxes do. Tariffs increase the price for the citizens. And Prabhupada said, eventually the citizens will become so taxed, they'll run to the forest. No, we're not tariffing people. We're not fault-finding people. We're telling the truth. And by the way, we have this wonderful opportunity to understand this in association with similar-minded devotees like all of you, and it's a blessing, and we thank you. We're going to move forward with a section, and I thought, Prabhu, Yashodanandana Prabhu, this section today in the Bhagavatam was very relevant to your current reading of the unauthorized biography of Srila Prabhupada, and a review of it to demonstrate the misunderstanding that was projected on Prabhupada, that he was an ordinary person. He was an ordinary person. And that came out in the purport today quite clearly to all of us. Quite clear. And this is the point. We cannot minimize the words of the bona fide spiritual master ever. And we must protect that legacy moving forward with a great integrity and intensity. Yes, because it's been damaged, severely destroyed by others. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please, if you could carry on.
1 second here. Okay. As we do, we're going to continue our reading of the Lilamrita Review, Section 1. We read a little bit yesterday, and we read from page number 11. In the next section, it starts, Srila Prabhupada did not have material emotions. If one were requested to fully surrender one's life to a personality who himself becomes baffled, frustrated, and discouraged, who is affected by success and failures, who becomes morose when there are unfavorable results, and who can rather easily become shocked or shaken, would he be strongly inclined to surrender himself to such an individual? If one were further asked to surrender one's life to a person who shudders at the thought of Krishna taking his money away, who gets embarrassed, bewildered, and perplexed on occasion, and who is enamored by the Lord's illusory energy, except when his heart cracks upon hearing noises in cities, would one be strongly inclined to fully surrender himself to such a person? And if you would and could surrender your life to the person who has the mundane qualities described above, would you be surrendering to a completely realized soul? Not according to the Shastra, although the Lilamrita might try to convince you that you were. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada has none of the above-mentioned material disqualifications. His mind and emotions are fully spiritual and are always absorbed in transcendental bliss. Since he's situated on the same platform as Lord Krishna, his mind, emotion, and activities are not able to be appreciated by the Lilamrita method of mental speculation and direct sense perception on the part of conditioned souls. Such mundane understanding can easily be discarded. Transcendence is not understood, after all, by the ascending process. Next is from the Krishna Book, Volume 3, Chapter 86, Prayers by the Personified Vedas. Srila Prabhupada explains, when a man is sleeping, everyone sees that he is present within the room, but actually the man himself is not within the body. For while sleeping, a man forgets his bodily existence, although others may see that his body is present. Similarly, a liberated person engaged in devotional service of the Lord may be seen by others to be engaged in the household duties of the material world. But since his consciousness is fixed on Krishna, he does not live within this world. His engagements are different, exactly as a sleeping man's engagement are different from his bodily engagements. Next, we have Srila Prabhupada explaining from Madhya Lila, Chapter 7, Text 66. It is said, Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra Vignena Bhujaya. Even the most learned man, depending on direct sense perception of knowledge, cannot understand the activities of a Vaishnava. Relying on the mental speculation and clouded memories of devotees, since we are virtually all neophytes, or on ex-devotees and karmis, the spiritual truths can easily be distorted. Some of the tales that such people may tell may not even have any truth in them. For example, one devotee, after reading passages of the Lilamrita spoken by Srila Prabhupada's printer in New Delhi, Mr. Sharma, commented to a research editor of the Lilamrita what a nice devotee Mr. Sharma was to have helped Srila Prabhupada like he did. The research editor replied that Mr. Sharma was not at all that nice in his estimation. The explanation continued to the effect that because Srila Prabhupada is now famous, everyone in India wants to say that it was he who helped him. These are not the kinds of people from whom we should hear of the topmost Paramahamsa, Srila Prabhupada. Next, we have a citation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 24. Glorification of the Lord from the lips of a non-devotee is simply a vibration of material sound. Then we have another quotation from the Madhya Lila, Chapter 8, Text 200. A Vaishnava Mukod Girnam, milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. Similarly, talks about Krishna by an Vaishnava are also poisonous. Hold on. When a pure Vaishnava speaks, he speaks perfectly. How is this? His speech is managed by Krishna himself from within the heart. Non-devotees want to ask the Supreme Lord for sense gratification. Therefore, non-devotees come under the influence of Maya, the illusory energy. A devotee, however, is directed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and comes under the influence of Yoga Maya. Consequently, there is a gulf of difference between statements made by a devotee and those made by a non-devotee. Next, there's a citation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text number 24. Unless one is empowered by these higher authorities or advanced devotees, one cannot write transcendental literature, for all such literature must be above suspicion, or, in other words, it must have none of the defects of the conditioned souls, namely mistakes, illusions, cheating, and imperfect sense perception. The words of Krishna in the disciplic succession that carries the order of Krishna are actually authoritative. Even the most significant events are difficult to remember clearly when such incidents occurred anywhere from 5 to 50 years previously. Kali Yuga is notorious for bad memories. If we want to understand His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, we can do so properly by hearing from He Himself. We will continue this on Wednesday in the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, very enlightening. And we don't want people to misunderstand. These are quotes from the Shastra. These are not interpretations by us, but they're statements of truth in regards to the transcendental characteristics of a pure devotee who is the bona fide representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. We're going to move forward. I wanted to ask Ram Raghava, could you give us a outline of the number of people watching the show on YouTube, and a question from you, or if there's a question on YouTube, let us know. Ram Raghava.
Hare Krishna. So there are 10 people watching right now, no questions.
Could
so
you give us
far.
a
And I don't
question?
have a question.
Pardon?
I don't have a question today.
Okay, that's a good answer. Thank you. I like that. We're going to move forward with Ron Singh in Oroville, California, who has a center there where we have setting up a shipping office right across the street from the YMCA he purchased as a center. So it's a vehicle for us to distribute books worldwide through that facility. Ron Singh, maybe you could share some insights for us today on this program.
Thank you very much, Prabhu's, for the wonderful class, all the quotations from Srila Prabhupada's original books. Yes, we do have a center, ashram, temple, whatever you want to call it, here in Oroville. So if devotees are interested in serving Srila Prabhupada in any way possible, they're welcome to come down here. Oroville is a small town. We have Yuba City there. We have Chico State University. So there's many opportunities to come and participate in various services. And yes, this will be a warehouse center to distribute Srila Prabhupada's original books. And then we have Yashodanandana not too far away if people want to go visit him as well. I'm sure he's welcoming all our friends, devotees who participate here. And Vishwakarma is also working very hard. We have different projects lined up in the background, which me, Vishwakarma, Yashodanandana, and our tight group of devotees are working on. If you have any suggestions of any projects that you want us to take a look at, sure, get in contact with Vishwakarma, myself, or Yashodanandana. Give us your ideas, because we are here to serve you, the devotees who have been helping us in the various distribution of the books. And then you're also welcome to come visit me or Yashodanandana. He can come down. He said he's going to be coming down soon. So we're looking for that opportunity. We're going to go on some japa walks, some talks about the future of the Krishna consciousness movement, how Srila Prabhupada wanted things to go on. Vishwakarma and I are also talking daily to talk about the different projects. Vishwakarma has some wonderful ideas. We've been talking about I remember when this program did not exist. I gave Vishwakarma, or we talked about it. We said, Vishwakarma, we should have a program where devotees can come on. We could talk from the original books and then have discussions. So this manifested spontaneously, and we take it as Krishna's desire, because everyone needs some sort of shelter, guidance, help. So, and we repose all that in Srila Prabhupada and his sincere devotees who have seen him walk, seen him participate in active Krishna consciousness. And we see that Prabhupada was very serious about Krishna consciousness. He was serious from the very beginning. He met his spiritual master in 1922. He got the same instruction there in 1922, and then in 1930, 33 or 36, before passing, or before the unmanifest pastimes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we're very glad that we have this association and things are happening. So thank you very much to all our donors who supported the Srimad Bhagavatam campaign. Devotees are still giving donations, and we're keeping track of that. And once things, in the next few weeks, we want devotees who have given donations for the Daily Bhagavatam campaign to send us their addresses so we can get ready to get you the books that we promised that we would give you. So thank you very much, Yashodanandana, Vishwakarma, the hosts, Ram Raghava, Rupa Goswami, and anyone else who's been helping. There's lots of people who have been helping us. So thank you very, very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, thank you. Hey, Ron Singh also has a nickname, Ramachandra. But I like to refer to him as Bhakta Ron Singh because he has such a wonderful understanding of our mission. And in a relative sense, he's not a part of the first wave, as Malini said to me in New Vrindavan some years ago. I'm part of the first wave. Oh, okay, whatever that is. Wave. But it shows that seniority is not based on your age or you were with Prabhupada in the early years. It is really based on your ability to accept the principles, the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, and incorporate them into your life. Just see what Ron's done. He went ahead and took his money and bought a center in Oroville with a goal to bring people to Krishna consciousness and in a small center like that and engage in devotional service. Yeah, well, that's commendable. And our hats are off to you, my friends. Thank you. We always enjoy association with people that get up and get going, not people that are lazy and look back and say, what should I do? I don't know. I'm not sure. Even if you tell them 1,000 times, they're so lame-brained, they can't figure it out. Dharma Bhavana in Texas. Haribol Prabhu, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maybe you could
Hare
share a
Krishna.
few things today with us.
Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna. I received an email thinking I read it. I've got to read it again, but it was about artificial intelligence. And the question was to artificial intelligence, was Prabhupada's arrangement for initiations proper? And the artificial intelligence gave some reply that it was perfectly, proper for him to make arrangements like that. I've got to read this again. It's because you cannot talk about or describe anything that's not on the internet. It's only connected different things. So, but anyway, we also talked a lot about the devotee Gopal Das leaving his body, and I just have personal experience that this is a great type of devotional service where you're taking care of some Vaishnava devotee who's in hospice, or they're very, very ill or about to leave their body. You're giving directly Vaishnava care. It can be a very beautiful thing. And sometimes, just from my experience, sometimes you can't cremate the body right away because it's a holiday or you have to wait a few days. So you see the body can have a shine to it, and the body can be very supple instead of rigor mortis. So these are just some, especially if somebody's hearing the holy name, like you mentioned, right before they left their body, is most auspicious. And these just a few thoughts that I had. It's such a beautiful devotional service to take care of some devotee who needs help and hospice. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very vivid realization of the difference between a living body and a dead body. The body's still there, but the soul's gone. And it's apparent that he has gone to another opportunity. And in our situation, we've been able to facilitate at a certain level his preparation. And we feel peaceful and calm that we did the best we could for him, considering the circumstances, and all things being equal, he has been successful in leaving the body and blessed by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in his journey. Krishna Katha in San Diego, somewhere near there.
Hare
Maybe
Krishna.
share a few thoughts for us.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhus. This unfolded last night, Vishwakarma, this passing of the Jiva soul we know as Gopal. This unfolded last night into this morning, and I just want to reiterate what we already know as students of our divine spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna has intervened here by somehow speaking to Vishwakarma in his heart, saying, you need to go to Mexico and be with Gopal. And so he did. He jumped on a plane and flew there. Right away, I was like, what amazing intervention, right? Spiritual intervention. And then, this morning's verse is so appropriate and befitting that we would be landing on this verse right as Gopal has left his body, that the devotee is not subject to these stringent laws of karma, repeated, birth and death, and unknown destination, but because Vishwakarma knows the science, and we all know that this is the most auspicious possible spiritual environment to offer to Srila Prabhupada, to one of his devotees. And you're thinking, well, how was he a devotee, or how? There's no way to know the internal relationship that Gopal has with Srila Prabhupada, having met him in the 70s. And like Vishwakarma mentioned, took amazing photographs. I've seen some of these, and they're just astonishing. And so through the lens, just like we have Yadubar and Vishaka, through their lens, they have become to know Prabhupada intimately. So we have to imagine also the same, that Gopal is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada in his heart, right? We have to sometimes separate out the ceremonial diksha, fire sacrifice, and name giving. Aside from that, Gopal is a devotee, and by intervention, now he has his Kunti, he's home from the hospital, so he was taken away from that inauspicious environment. We all know what hangs out at hospitals, and so now he's home in Kasagoloka. The vision that he had for devotees to go there and prepare themselves for a wonderful setting for Krishna consciousness. It's not just the mango trees. The whole place is astonishing. Go to his Facebook page. I put it up, and you can see these wonderful pictures. It's on the chat. It's these wonderful pictures of Kasagoloka. It's such a spiritual sanctuary in such a wonderful area of Mexico. It's a very safe place to go, by the way, not ridden with criminal gangs and that kind of thing. So don't equate it with a scary place. It's not. It's very, very well protected. And so Vishwakarma is there, and he's putting tilak on. He's chanting the Nrsimhadev prayers for protection. You can't get any more auspicious situation. I pray for the same thing no matter where I am leaving my body, that I'm somehow blessed with having a devotee do these things for my departure out of this body. So Gopal is so blessed, and we are all so blessed to be in this society, right? Although there's some deviation, and we know all about it because this forum has discussed all the deviations multiple times, it doesn't mean that we're a part of that. We are a part of Prabhupada's movement, the unadulterated, original, pure, and perfect ISKCON. We're 100% part of that. And even though we don't put the stamp ISKCON on any correspondence, it doesn't mean that we're not part of Prabhupada's international society. We absolutely are. In fact, if anyone is ISKCON, it's our forum. The deviations are just temporary. All of this will go away at some point because there has to be that, right? Krishna has arranged for everything. So it's making us stronger. It's making us better devotees. It's making us with more faith and deeper study, because we know the difference between when someone's actually following and being a real disciple of Srila Prabhupada and when they are not. The separation is there. Prabhupada gave us exactly how to see and know what the difference is. What is pure, unalloyed following, and what is sahaja, right? We see so much sahaja, right? All right, well, Gopal is in excellent, pure protection of Krishna, thanks to Vishwakarma and thanks to Srila Prabhupada, because otherwise, where would any of us be floating around on this ocean of nescience if it was not for his divine grace and all of this amazing knowledge that he has given us, selflessly given us? Thank you for letting me speak, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and thank you, excuse me, for your comments. We very much appreciate them. And we do appreciate all of you. This has been a pastime, in a sense, for those who regularly come to the program, that we've embraced this journey together with all of our members. And by the way, Gopal Prabhu was coming to the classes regularly, along with my son, Abhi Charan. I send out links to everybody during the program on Messenger and on the group pages. It's interesting, Yashodanandana Prabhu, that I send out to a lot of groups our classes. And a lot of these groups that claim to be Prabhupada groups or ISKCON groups or Vaishnava groups, they cancel it. No, we've not accepted your class. Interesting enough. They never bother to listen. It doesn't matter to them. They just cancel. That's okay. We're not here. We're trying our best and to disseminate the truth without adulteration. And I wanted to ask our senior godbrother, Yashodanandana Prabhu, to share a few final words on today's program. Hare Krishna. Yashodanandana Prabhu.
Well, thank you for these comments. I greatly appreciate Krishna Katha and Ron Singh Prabhu and their dedication to Srila Prabhupada. Last year and the year before, I was invited by Ron when he had his center in Sacramento. And one thing that I noticed about him, the whole living room in his garage, it's like a temple. He's got a living room. It's everywhere. There's deities. The deities of Gaur-Nitai were very effulgent. He's got books everywhere, Prabhupada's books. And in his garage, he's got a whole distribution center, Bhagavad Gitas and all different kind of books. Why? Because his consciousness is always absorbed how to spread Srila Prabhupada's message. And although I'm an old man, 74 years old, I'm very inspired by looking at the dedication of Ron, and Krishna Katha is another one. The last time I spoke on the phone with Krishna Katha, I get a lecture from him about the importance of Srila Prabhupada's teaching, Prabhupada's Vani, and Prabhupada's books, how important it is. And this inspires me. I mean, I've been around a few years. By Prabhupada's mercy, we saw Prabhupada. We spent some time with Prabhupada. But like we've described before, what we're preaching is the future version of the movement, a Prabhupada Vani-based movement, not a body consciousness Vapuvad. We've often discussed this. Srila Prabhupada constantly emphasized that Vani is more important than Vapu. And some misguided persons, under the influence of Maya, influenced by the 3 Ps and the prophet adoration distinction, are now promoting their Vapu and the importance of their physical Vapu over Prabhupada's Vani. That is why our preaching has to focus always on Srila Prabhupada. And I want to say something about a devotee here, Narasimha Prabhu, who lives in Cedarville, California. This little booklet here called The Acharya for the Golden Age. He compiled this booklet, and I was happy to assist him. Him and Vijay Pandit, they worked together. This book was just printed in Italy. Vijay Pandit brought the book, and we have a few hundred copies. And right now, there's copies that are getting mailed to Narasimha Prabhu, his wife, Ram Raghava Prabhu, Ruchisa Mataji in Montreal. If anybody wants some books, now we don't charge for the book. It's simply on a donation. You donate whatever you want. You tell us how many books you want, we'll get them shipped to you and try to preach with it. What this book does, we've often discussed and quoted from this book. This explains the special position of Srila Prabhupada as a Nitya Siddha pure devotee, his tremendous accomplishment. So we ask you to try to support this endeavor, and we look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just to wind up, you have to realize, we have to realize, all of us, that this is a different time and place than 1965. That was glorious. And things have changed, very much so. Back in the early 70s, we hardly have phone systems. There were no cell phones. If you wanted to reach somebody, you had to place a long distance call and run up a huge bill. Prabhupada, when we bought the Toronto temple, Ram Raghava, when he heard the news, he sent me a telegram from Nigeria. Congratulations, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Do they still have telegrams? No, I don't think so. That stopped. You send people an instant message in WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or
Instagram.
Whatever it is, you're immediately, it's amazing actually. We're in a different time, in a different place, time and circumstance. And we're adapting to that, everybody. We're adapting to that. Sure, there's still books. And one should still read them. And we've got all kinds of we do need people to help us. So if you feel so motivated on whatever level, please get a hold of me. Please, if you find it in your heart that this is the time for you to take up devotional service with seriousness and conviction and determination, step up. Don't step down. It's time to step up, because you never know when you may be called. And there's nothing better than the present time to take advantage of this opportunity to serve the legacy of Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. It is never too late. Only when you leave and you don't use your time to do it, then you missed it. Yes, you missed the opportunity. So be mindful of that and be excited. Be excited to know that there is an opportunity to do this and to take up the mission of the Sankirtan movement. And we're going to move forward, okay, with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah. And it's 2 minutes and 54 seconds, according to Professor Ram Raghava, Doctor. So chant along with Srila Prabhupada as he leads the kirtan. And the Forest Temple, thank you for coming. It's great. I love to see your pictures of you and your wife. I like the pictures. I look at everybody on the screen that has a picture. So when I refer to people, I usually see them, and then it becomes more personable for all of us. And thank you, Pier Angelo, and you're always there in Europe somewhere, wherever. And it's always fun, always fun. I love to see everybody on the screen. It's just blissful. And we'll go to the kirtan, and after the final message from Yashodanandana, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively program. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Yotopek, Mexico. Ram Raghava Prabhu in Georgia, Brighton, Georgia. Dasavatar Prabhu in Australia. I don't know exactly what city you're on, but looks like a beautiful background behind your head. Rochisa Mataji in Montreal, Canada. Pier Angelo in Switzerland. Vijay Pandit in Twain Harte, California. In Bhaktaran in Oroville, California. Krishna Kata in San Diego. Bhaktin Amber in Texas. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California. And we welcome you all to come back on Wednesday for the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 Eastern Time. Thank you for participating. Visit our website at HareKrishnaSociety.org for different updates, or you can look at our Facebook webpage with the Prabhupada Disciples Association. Thanks, everybody. And not to forget, Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, India, who has done a tremendous amount of work with his postings on Facebook and a website. And thanks all of you for participating. Looking forward to see all of you. Please join us with some wonderful chanting with some devotees from Jamaica led by Vishwakarma Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram